Hi, good morning. So today I want to go over a case study of one of my patients that I see a while ago. So basically, I just want to talk about someone or why your child. If someone have a question like that, why is your child chewing stuff or eat stuff? So I want to talk about that. So this is my patient from a while back, maybe last year. Super cute kid, 6 years old. Basically, the reason why they come see me is that mom is concerned why that he's not eating. So during the visit, after asking some question, or actually during the visit, I just want to show you what he's like. So during the visit, you can kind of tell that he's a little bit different. Like initially, he was a little bit shy, just like normal kids, just sit next to mom, kind of minding his own business. And then we kind of warm up a little bit, and he's got out of his chair, start playing with the toys in my office. And at that time, I have an intern with me, so my intern was entertaining him, which is great, because so that way he can be playing with my intern and I can talk to the mom. But then you can kind of watch him. That's the reason why I always make sure that I see the kids during my appointment, because you can see their interaction, what they're doing, how they're interacting. So he asked a lot of like intriguing questions. Like I was like, "How old are you? Like, why are you asking that?" And then he'll interrupt me and his mom talking. He'll come either to me or to his mom. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. He'll do that until you stop and acknowledge him. So, but anyway, that's kind of the interaction of what I observed from him. And then during the questioning, talking to mom, asking a lot of questions, and then I find out that he started eating papers and pencils. Like he's not just eating a few bites of papers or a couple, like just gnawing on the pencil. He's eating pages of paper off his notebook. And then the pencil, like a lot of times, like even us adults will like unconsciously put a pencil in our mouth and kind of bite on it. But he actually chewed a whole eraser top off, and he'll bite chunks of the wooden part off, and he actually swallowed that. Because I asked him, I was like, "Do you just chew on it?" He's like, "No, I eat it." I was like, "Which part of the pencil do you eat?" He's like, "The eraser and the wooden part." And I asked him, "Do you eat the inside, the black part?" He's like, "No." So he actually eat that whole thing. So that's concerning, right? And then I ask also more question, and I realized he has a new sister. By the time he saw me, the sister was 18 months old, and those behavior has been happening for a while. So so there are a few things in this case that could be causing him to chew or eat non-food items. So I did a few things for him, but I want to talk about other stuff first. So in this case, the two things I'm looking at will be anxiety and also something called PICA, P-I-C-A. So anxiety in kids are different than anxiety in adults. So in kids, a lot of times they don't act the same way as adult with anxiety, but they still is affected by changes in the environment. They just don't have the vocabulary to express themselves. So a lot of times the kinds of behavior or things we see with kids who have in kids with anxiety is either they have a change in their eating behavior, stomach ache happens a lot, and also other unusual behavior that they start like acting out. And because I work mostly with the military families, so a lot of these families move every 2 or 3 years. So that can be a lot of stress on the kids, because every couple of years they have to say goodbye to their new friends or their best friends, and they'll move to a completely new place, nobody. They have to make new friends, adjust to new schools, new routine. So we see a lot of anxiety in kids in the patient that I see. And then the other thing also, like when you look at kids chewing on food item, you can kind of relate to in adult or in older kids, like nail biting. Nail biting is actually a signs and symptoms of anxiety too. It's just that we don't look at it that way because it is so common. Like everybody bites their nails, so people don't think that is unusual. Then pica. Pica is a disorder where someone eats non-food item. Like I'm not talking about they just eat a few bite, like they're actually eating it in a pretty substantial amount. And most common items that people will eat will be things like ice. Like if like they not just put the ice in the mouth and let it melt, they actually chew the ice like they're actually eating it, and they eat a lot of it. So ice chewing, eating dirt, eating clay, eating paper, like toilet paper, magazines paper, notebook paper, cardboard paper, any of those are all possible signs of pica. And I've seen kids who've eaten rocks, bugs, insects, their own poop even, but those are very unusual situations. And like I said, with the anxiety, you have to look at these eating non-food items on a case-to-case basis because there are still many causes other than the one I'm talking about here. So going back to our case study, so based on my initial assessment, looking at how his behavior interaction is, so I did a few things for him. So number one thing is I refer him to child behavioral health because of his anxiety and possibly ADHD. And then I also refer him to the pediatric gastroenterologist because I just want to make sure that he doesn't have any intestinal damage from eating all that papers and wood. The problem is you might think that, oh yeah, he just pooped it out, right? Because we don't digest it. It's not that simple. When you eat a lot of non-food items, our digestion is not meant to break down those foods. So sometimes these food or not food, these non-food items can actually get stuck inside the intestine and form something called bezoar. Bezoar is literally a chunk of junk inside your intestine that is stuck. And a lot of times, like usually they try have the body naturally poop it out, but there are many times where they actually have to go surgically inside to remove the bezoar. So I just want to make sure that that's not happening. And then on my end, I did some blood test. I checked his blood count and iron level because, again, pica is often associated with mineral deficiencies, especially iron deficiency is a very common cause of pica. And that's also a reason why it's very common in pregnant women because their iron needs suddenly increase so much during the pregnancy. So I checked his blood count and his iron level. So this is what happened. Then I talked to my psychologist colleague who saw him. So he diagnosed him with ADHD and anxiety and referred him to behavioral therapy because mom did not want to start him on medication. And then we started working on his diet. And then Pete's GI, pediatric gastroenterologist, cleared him. There's nothing wrong with the belly. Everything looks good inside. They didn't even have to do scopes or any procedures. And then his iron level came back low, so I started him on iron. And then the family also cleaned up his diet, removing all the junk food, all the processed food. And I've been following up on him like every month. And then finally, we pretty much got him off. I think maybe a month or two, we got him off eating pencils and papers. But occasionally, he himself will caught him try and do it, and then will stop himself. Sometimes mom have to stop him, but I'm actually pretty surprised that he actually is catching himself doing it. So he's consciously trying to stop it himself. So basically, we got him stop eating pencils, eating papers. Mom said he's a lot less active. Because when he was in my office, he was pretty okay. Like he just talks a lot and interrupts. But when he was with the psychologist, he was like all over the place. Like the psychologist, his office is next to mine. I can hear him like all this noise coming out of his office. And I was like, oh my God, Like, does he need help inside? So after the visit, he came to my office and he's like, oh my God, he almost tear my office down. He's on the chair, he's on the table, he's in my face, he's everywhere. But I was like, but he never does that when he's with me. So I don't know what's the deal that day. But anyway, I thought that was funny. So basically, we kind of fixed his non-food item eating, and mom was happy with the results. And I haven't seen him back then because I think family moved back to the mainland. So, and I also want to bring up one last reason why your child might be putting non-food items in his or her mouth. It could be a developmental delay, because in babies and toddlers, putting random items in their mouth is normal, right? Like your kids crawl on the floor, pick up something, put it in their mouth. They put the fingers, the toes, whatever in their mouth. That's normal for babies or toddler. But if your 5-year-old is still putting random items in the mouth like a baby does, it could be a sign of developmental delay, especially when there are other signs of delay associated with it. So yeah, so that's it. That's the little case study that I want to go over today. So I hope you find this information helpful. Let me know what you think and comment below. Remember, ADHD doesn't doom your child to a life of underachievement. You know your child is bright and full of potential inside and deserve the best. In fact, many of the world's greatest discoveries and inventions are made by people with ADHD, so we need your child there. And I helped my crazy wild child who couldn't read or write when she was little with the 4 steps that I described in the Eat to Focus book. She's now a merit scholarship student majoring in premed at Loyola Chicago. So stay strong and keep believing in your child. Don't forget to check out my book, Eat to Focus, at Amazon.com so you can learn the 4 steps and do your own transformation with your child. The information may change your child's future. And also, I want to offer this as well. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one for a full evaluation and come up with a customized plan, message me to schedule a free 30-minute discovery call to see if we're a good fit to work together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.